Ancient sigils of the past, ancient symbols, the great awe-inspiring crescent moon held by the great Persian, Iranian, Ottoman, Tartarian kings of the past, is going to be very important today. I'm going to talk about Persia again, the origin of the Tartarian Empire, the Iranian Empire, the Roman Empire, and the angle I'm going to take today is I'm going to discuss a little bit Aladdin and who Aladdin grew up to be. And this is such a wonderful theory because it connects to the old Arabian Nights fables, which was a collection of stories, much like the Bible. So the Arabian Nights, I'm going to connect the Arabian Nights with much more recent grimoires, lesser keys, there's a clue, and old world magic, and one of the kings of the Tartarian Empire. If you were to look at the Bible, one of the greatest, if not the holiest and wealthiest of kings mentioned in the Bible is indeed King Solomon. Solomon was the richest king in the history of the Tartarian Empire, and he was also one of the most revered and wisest kings in biblical scripture. And I believe his origin story was one of the ancient fables of the Arabian Nights. Solomon, in his later years, became very powerful indeed. He actually was able to communicate with God, as we all are, but he was also able to communicate with demons and actually summon them and get them to favor him and do things for him. He was able to find out what their weaknesses were, their strengths, and he learned a lot from being open-minded and manifesting great abilities. But how did he get to this point? How was he this wise king? How did he become a builder of temples? How was he able to construct architecture that we can only marvel at and have to associate with ancient empires like Medo-Persia, Babylon, and Tartaria? This is because Solomon was a great manifester of reality. This helped him develop great relationships with powerful entities, some of them positive, some of them negative, some of them good, some of them evil. Do you know the difference between abracadabra and avada kedavra? Actually, abracadabra means I will create when I speak, and avada kedavra means I will destroy as I speak. So he was able to destroy, summon demons, and then create by incorporating the opposite, the positive, the as above, so below, the reflection of that power. How can we associate abracadabra with Solomon? Let's backtrack a little bit. I don't just want to plow straight ahead. I want to prove it. So abracadabra is a powerful spell. It looks like this below. You would write this from north to south, or up, down, and up and down and up. Much like the Buddhist and the Nazi swastikas, these are going back to front depending on which part of the manifestation that you want to initiate or use. You write this downwards to rid yourself of evil and upwards for good luck. So it becomes positive both sides because you are the one initiating it. You're the human being with the pineal gland and the manifestation wand. You've got the finger, the wand. You have the temple inside your temple. So this is also used in many ancient amulets. This is pretty much one of the greatest things Solomon did. He did other things too, like threatened two women who were fighting over whose baby a baby happened to be. He was very intelligent. He had beautiful wives. The Queen of Sheba. He was a blackamoor. He was one of the original lineages of the 12 tribes. And he used abracadabra. Now, this is something very important. The connection to abracadabra manifestations, Lesser Keys of Solomon, and his own backstory. Now, I think as he was such a powerful, famous king, his backstory, his childhood fable was that he actually began not part of a royal lineage, but adopted into a royal lineage, just like Moses and many other famous and important prophets of biblical times. Solomon was Aladdin. As a child, Solomon was Aladdin. And the first love of his life was in fact a woman that was about to be murdered. She was about to marry a king, a maniacal Persian king that killed every woman that he married after their first night together. This is the real Arabian Nights. This is not the Hollywood Disney perversion of the story. The story is also a powerful metaphor, just like biblical stories, for your own awakening, to go inside your cave. Are you ready for this? Solomon was Aladdin. Aladdin lived at the height of the Persian Tartarian Empire, the Moors that ruled the realm. Here are some illustrations from some of the Arabian Nights collection of stories, of which Aladdin is one of them. Aladdin manifested or removed, disappeared a giant cave entrance. The cave is a metaphor for your own mind. But in the story of Aladdin, the childhood depiction of King Solomon, he approaches a cave that bandits hold. In other words, stolen ancestral knowledge or ancient treasures. He finds a way to open the cave, but he has to steal that information because he has nothing to start with. He has no strength, no experience, no money. He is poor. He has nothing. He stumbles confused into a cave, overhears some bandits, because if you're not part of the government and you're not a farmer or a merchant, you're a bandit. There weren't that many career options 1,500 years ago during the 6th century. So he finds the key, and the key, Solomon's key, is actually just the words abracadabra. Do not confuse abracadabra with abracadabra alakazam. That's in addition to complicate and take away this ancient Hebrew Aramaic magical spell. He goes up to the door. He says the word in the right frequency, and because he's a good man, or he's a good soul, he does get inside the cave. We spend a little bit of time with the ancestral knowledge finally being acquired, or the gold being acquired. It is not trying to depict physical gold, because even though Solomon does grow up to become one of the richest kings in the history of all myth and legend, he doesn't spend as much time on the gold. I think he's very excited by the gold, and even though he's been poor his entire life and has no chance to marry his destined queen, the Queen of Sheba, Jasmine, he is still excited by it. But the gold, again, whatever you think this journey, your life is about, your internal dialogue, what your knowledge, your acquisition of knowledge, your connection with the divine or your ancestral past, your genetic memory, it's not about the money. That is the mundial. It's about something else. And this is when he finds the lamp. Now the lamp is the 72 lesser keys of Solomon. These are the genies, the demons, the darker traits within human nature. And there are 72 of them. And they are everything from the traditional 7 deadly sins to far more grotesque creatures. But all of them can be controlled by a single man, by Solomon, Aladdin. Other parallels, Solomon can fly and so does Aladdin. The genie gives him a palace just like Solomon was given great structures by the demons that he summoned. Every good thing has a mirror, and I will discuss this further. This is one of the demons.